There it is, folks. Kindness 2. Leon Logothetis' car he drove from Alaska to Patagonia in season 2 of the Kindness Diaries. Just sat down with him. Such a kind man, just willing to sit with me and talk to me and all you beautiful Misfits and Rejects out there. It was awesome. Check him out, Kindness Diaries. Ciao. Welcome to another episode of Misfits and Rejects. Today I'm joined by Leon Logothetis. You might remember him from episode 88 when you joined me, and thank you for that. It was nice that you responded to my email and I got you on the show, and we're here to plug season 2 of the Kindness Diaries.
Indeed.
Welcome back, dude.
What episode is this? If I was on 88.
You will be on probably like episode 160 or 61.
Wow, you've been busy.
Busy, yes. And capturing a lot of cool, interesting, inspiring content like yours.
Cool.
Season 2, you drove from Alaska down to Patagonia.
Exactly. Alaska to Ushuaia in Argentina.
Yeah, I watched it. It's incredible. I just cried every single episode. It's so, like, touches me because I've experienced what you experienced on the road and just bringing back those memories. And I still experience them, but I'm not doing it as hardcore as that, where I was like hitching around the world. But I mean, you really have tapped into something that I think is remarkable. It's a little hard to watch sometimes because I can feel the insecurity I have with asking for help. I can see that you become more comfortable with it, I think, in season 2, maybe than season 1. I mean, how's it going for you? I mean, can you talk to the audience a little bit about that experience, season 2? I mean, you've made big partnerships with Southwest Airlines. Like, well, it's going pretty good. Yeah. Kindness is paying off to a certain extent.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, look, you know, season 1 was kind of, you know, on this yellow motorbike all the way around the world. I'd traveled around the world. I'd traveled before, but never to this degree. And the season 2, it was more, I opened up more. I was willing to like show myself more. And it was a tough journey. I mean, it was fun, but it was also sometimes not fun. I mean, you know this. Like,
dude,
you travel.
Look painfully hard sometimes, dude. I mean, just you in the Alaskan tundra, just like strewing into the side. Like, I mean, I've felt it with my own VW van that we drove from LA to Costa Rica, and just the breakdowns, but the help that was always there, even if you did have to wait. Yeah. I mean, what was the most frustrating thing for you?
I think that one of the most frustrating things was, I've done this quite a lot. You know, I've done a lot of shows, I've done a lot of travel. And specifically in Alaska and further down, but I remember in Alaska, I was asking myself, why on earth are you doing this to yourself again? Like, as you know, I was in a car that was 50 years old, had no heating. Outside it was -30. And I was driving from Alaska to Argentina, and I kept saying, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you doing this to yourself? What the hell is wrong with you? Like, what? Stop. I've had enough. Just go home and stop. But what would always come back is, you're doing this because people are going to be inspired. You're doing this because people's lives will be touched. You're doing this to get other people to go out and live their best lives. And I'd be like, okay, fine, I'll keep going. So it becomes, and I'm sure you can relate to this with your podcast, it becomes more than just about you. It becomes about the people that are going to listen. It becomes about the people that are going to be inspired. And that, I would imagine, is a part of what keeps you going, which is what kept me going.
100%. I mean, what kind of feedback are you getting? I mean, the personal like DMs from people who have said what?
It's just amazing. I mean, I got a message from a guy who told me that he was going to kill himself, and he happened upon the Kindness Diaries, and he decided that he wasn't going to kill himself, and he was going to make something of his life. I mean, that's not me. That's not me. That's like just like putting a mirror to someone to say, look, there's hope. And I'm just the vessel for that. But the mirror, instead of being like negative, is like this positive thing, like, oh my God, there's another way to be. And that's just one. I mean, I get messages all the time. Yeah. But
I mean, you speak now in front of like 20,000 people at a time.
Yeah,
and
that was quite
this series has like grown to such a thing where it's like, I get almost 20,000 a month. You're like captivating an audience.
No, it was really quite extraordinary. It was always a dream of mine to like, I wanted to be a soccer player or a rock star, and both of them failed. But then I'm getting the chance to like speak in front of thousands of people, and I just spoke in front of 20,000 people. And what a beautiful thing to be able to do that. And people pay you to like talk about kindness. And I would imagine that you love talking, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't do a podcast. And you get to do that. You get to like go out into the world and share your message of hope and share your message of travel. What a beautiful thing.
It is.
You know?
It is beautiful. I mean, the talking side is nice because I like to engage with people. I like to hear their stories more than anything, just like yours. A few of the episodes that caught my attention were the one where you were just gotten to Tijuana and you went to the almost hostel for immigrants who were either going to jump across the border and make their break for it or had to come back. And that really touched me. Like, this guy was getting ready to put his wetsuit back on. He had just gotten caught the night before, and he's going to make a play to go again to try to get back to his family. And I just find it so interesting to watch the perseverance of these people, which I see so many victims around me these days and people complaining, especially, I don't know, I don't want to say in just California, but in America. And to see somebody persevere that much who, I mean, there's plenty of examples of people walking across the Sudan to get to someplace and then they start a life for themselves. It's like mind-blowing. How are you feeling with the things that you've persevered through to get to where you are now, like, and the road to come? I mean, how many more of these are you gonna do where you're like driving just like every second, like, dude, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, even though you know it's gonna help people? I mean, I feel like, is this how you're gonna challenge yourself for the rest of your life, or is this gonna be something that you transition to something new with? What's on the horizon?
There's a limit to what I can do. I mean, doing these journeys, you know, you see it, and you, because you've traveled, so you watch it and you're like, okay, I know this is difficult. Yes, they've edited it down and it looks smooth, whatever, blah, 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 but you know how difficult it is. So there's a limit to what one can do. The next season is Scotland to Singapore, but I don't know how many things I'll do after that. I mean, I'll keep doing what I'm doing, but maybe not push myself off a cliff. Right. I think I've had enough of cliff pushing, but I keep saying that and then I go and do something insane.
It's like a sailor. Sailors would, leave back for every generation. They leave port, they hit the high seas. It sucks the whole time. They get to port, they're like, I'm never going back out to sea again. And then they do it again and again because there's something alluring about it.
That is exactly what happens to me. And I'm sure to you. Like, you go out, you have an adventure, you're like, that's it, it's done. And then you're like, okay, fine, I'll do it again. Because you get so much out of it. You become wiser, you become kinder, it's like the school of life, when you go out and travel the world. And it's just a good feeling to be able to come back and see the world with a different perspective, a different eye.
The Scotland to Singapore, that's already been done. You've done that?
No, I wish. We have to do it.
Okay, and you're going to do it in your little Kindness too?
We'll see. Maybe it'll be a yellow submarine.
Okay.
It'll actually be easier. Just go from the highlands.
I noticed in season 2, I felt that you seemed really grounded in a lot of the situations that I perceived maybe as uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You seem very present.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that's what you've grown into and you continue to?
100%. Like, maybe season 1 I wasn't so grounded because a lot of things have happened off screen, dealing with pain, reading books, therapy, all this kind of stuff. And it grounds you, but you become calmer. And then when you get on the road, you can deal with things that most people can't deal with. Like, for example, a couple of weeks ago I was traveling with someone. I'm not going to mention their name, but I was traveling with someone. And we were in the TSA line. Yeah, and the person behind us was being very unpleasant, being very rude, and the person I was with was about to have an argument with them, and I just said, just let it go.
You talk to that person?
To the person I was with. I just said, just let it go, and we let it go. But it would have been very easy for those two people to have an argument over nothing. And a couple of years ago, I may have had an argument. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go out into the world and you become wiser and calmer and happier and kinder.
Seems like, though, through subjecting yourself to these sort of uncomfortable situations day in and day out, you do start to acquire a certain calmness because you've been through it before. You know there usually is a solution to it, whether someone's going to stop, pick you up, pay for your the tools that It does, if you subject, that's what I'm noticing with a lot of these self-help gurus or whoever I'm kind of interested in right now, like say the Wim Hof guy who's got his breathing stuff, subjects himself to cold, or an MMA fighter who like is just renowned for his skill set on the mat with the jiu-jitsu, and they all seem to come to the same conclusion, which is like, stay calm, stay present, there's a way out of this situation. But they've subjected themselves so many times to it, now it's easy. It's easy to sit in an ice bath for an hour and a half, breathe through it. It's easy to have some guy wrapped around your neck, choking you out. But it's like, I recognize this. So the more you do this, and in Scotland and Singapore, how long is that going to take you?
I don't know, maybe 4.5, 5 months.
4.5, 5 months, and I mean, I'm assuming you're not going to do the yellow submarine, so it's going to be a motorcycle.
It'll probably be the car. Look, the car broke down quite a lot, but really nothing like the bike. And the first time it broke down was 3,000 miles after I started, which is pretty epic because the bike broke down in Vegas. So, you know, it'll probably be the car. And I did a lot of fixing it. I fixed it, you know, so it was 50 years old, but I put in a new engine. I did everything I could to make sure it made the journey. And it still kept breaking down. But it'll be the car, no doubt.
All right. The other part I wanted to kind of talk more about and help the audience understand, peeling back the layers of the danger aspect in which you decided to, you know, take the team from LA. You courted Southwest Airlines. They agreed to fly you to Costa Rica just because the U.S. travel advisories, all these things were saying like, don't drive, don't drive, don't drive. And when I was driving up here today to have this conversation with you, I was thinking like, if you and I sat down and really peeled back the layers of the realistic dangers of doing that, what would you say, in your opinion, were the realistic dangers?
The biggest danger was the camera crew.
Okay.
The biggest danger was I had a yellow VW Beetle, 50 years old, with a camera crew following me. So that would have meant that we would have go into some of these dangerous territories and they wouldn't have known who we are. Who are you? You know, why do you have a camera here? Are you a spy? I mean, whatever it would have been. Had it just been me and one person, we would have done it. But it was me and 5 or 6 people. Right. And it wasn't worth risking it.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't just like 300 miles like it was in Colombia when we went through Colombia. And we had to take precautions there as well. It was 1,000, 2,000 miles. We would have arrived in towns where we were just shot with a camera. We had no security. It wouldn't have ended well. Well, maybe it would have.
Let's play it out, because this is kind of where I think a lot of people's imaginations automatically assume like, no go, way too dangerous. But in my mind, because I have done that drive, we did it in an old VW pop top, and you're driving in the day. Less crime happens in the daytime, right? Less people are willing to take that risk. So you have your camera crew behind you, you're moseying through. You come into a town, say, it's daytime and you have cameras, okay, so maybe you perk the interest of some unfriendly people, say. But I would still say that the majority of the people in town are good and would probably help in situations where you could have been threatened. So it's like, I totally see, and probably would have made the same call because you had other people's lives at stake who were there to support you on this series. But I think as I play through that scenario, like, I genuinely with wholehearted believe like the danger was so little, it would be like driving through South Central with a camera crew. You do it in the daytime, people are curious, some people might be like, hey, maybe we could jack those cameras. But ultimately, it was interesting though when you did get to Costa Rica and you had that couple talk about having the gun, you know, pulled out on them.
Yeah.
Like, was that random? Like, was that a random occurrence?
The whole thing is random.
Really?
Like, we were walking in a market and they were clearly, you know, they clearly spoke English. So I started talking to them and I told them that I had decided not to do it, and they told me they did do it, and then they told me the story about the guy pulling a gun on them.
Yeah, but they were also camping on a beach, a deserted beach.
Yeah. I mean, but you never know. I think the thing was we decided that the risk wasn't worth it.
Fair enough. I just want the audience to really, like, before they end all conversation about like trying to attempt certain things, like, play it out, you know, like.
Absolutely. And had it just been me and a friend, we would have done it without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
You know, you stay on the main roads, you'll be fine.
Totally. I totally agree. So Scotland to Singapore, do you have a timeline when this might happen, season 3?
We're working on it next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
So you're going to play out the rest of this year, and you just continue to give talks right now, and that's kind of your...
Yeah, and actually I wrote a new book. I'm not sure if you're aware. It's called Go Be Kind. Actually, I don't have a copy of it, but It's called Go Be Kind, and it's basically people come up to me and they say, oh, you know, I can't quit my job. I can't go around the world in a yellow motorbike or a yellow car. What should I do? And so I created a book where you could do your own kindness adventures, 28 and a half adventures in kindness. And at the end, if you're not happier, you get your money back.
28 and a half.
Yes.
Why the half?
You have to read the books.
Okay. Can you give us maybe two? Like
yeah,
kindness
so for
adventures?
example, one of the adventures is called Winnie Love. Winnie was my Boston Terrier, who I loved with all my heart. And I went out into the world and gave you and other human beings the same love I gave Winnie. So the adventure is to go out into the world and find 5 people to give Winnie love to. That's one of the adventures. Another adventure is to find a stranger and to take them to coffee and just to connect with them. Because as you know, when you connect to humanity and other human beings, you realize we're just the same.
That's awesome, dude. I think those are really good exercises that anybody could utilize.
Yeah.
Why did you take this interview with me in the first place when I reached out a year and a half ago? I mean, I just reached out randomly. You're a guy on Netflix whose series I saw, and I just reached out and you said, yep, no worries. To be honest, not many people do that. I reach out to a lot of people that I think are interesting, and very few ever get back to me even.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to share the message. And secondly, you've taken the time to reach out to me, so it would be rude of me not to respond. And I just sensed that you're doing some good stuff, so why not reply and see what happens? Who knows?
I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. It's great. Yeah. If you could talk to one audience member out there. Well, first, actually, with the Southwest thing, I'm curious about that relationship, because I know that your series is on all this TV screens on Southwest.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
And that was just a random phone call that said, hey, I'm stuck in Tijuana?
Basically.
Wow.
It took a little bit of time to get them to do what we needed, but they did.
That's so cool, dude.
It's pretty epic.
Just make the calls. What the lesson is. Just make the call.
Exactly. That's what I'm about to say. We called them. They said yes. You called. You messaged me. I said yes.
Yeah.
We messaged many others. They said no.
Yeah.
One person said yes.
That's so rad, dude. If you could talk to one audience member and just inspire them or help them understand what it takes to be kind and take that first step out into the world as a kind human being.
I would say that kindness is simply helping someone feel less alone. And everyone knows what it's like to feel alone. So take that, empathize with another human being's feelings, and just help them feel less alone. Mm-hmm. And you'll see that it's a win-win. You win, I win, everyone wins with kindness. Why not? Why not do it?
Yeah, I love it.
Don't lose anything.
Folks, check it out. Season 2 of the Kindness Diaries. Thank you, Leon.
Okay, man.
Appreciate your time, dude.
Okay, cool.